Stacks class. Today I wanted to read The Goat That Gloats. It's written by Leyland Perree and illustrated by Joelle Dreidemy. Here's our picture. On a throne made of stone at the top of a tower, counting the minutes of each passing hour, feeling bored and ignored for days without end, lived a goat who was lonely. He wanted a friend. This goat was unhappy with sitting alone, way up in his tower on his cold, hard throne. So out of his window he started to bleat to the people who bustled below in the streets. Might make some friends. What a wonderful friend I would make, bragged the goat. I've a throne in a tower with a bubble bath moat. But the people below called back over the moat. Who'd want to be friends with a gloating old goat? So what do we think gloating means? Let's think about that while we read. The goat scratched his head with his hoof and he frowned. What must he do to make friends in this town? So he shouted again to the people below, without even so much as a smile or hello. What a wonderful friend I would make, bragged the goat, for I own a fast car and a fabulous boat. Think about what gloating means. But the people below called back over the moat. Who'd want to be friends with a gloating old goat? Now the goat was being quiet, and he was upset that no one wanted to be friends with him just yet. So he jumped to his hooves and he reached for his net, and quickly he scooped up Fernando, his pet. What animal do you guys think that is? I think it's a ferret. What a wonderful friend I would make, bragged the goat. For Fernando, my pet, is the world's smartest stoat. But the people below called back over the moat. What do you think they're going to say? Who'd want to be friends with a gloating old goat? Once more the goat, who was stricken with grief, came away from the window, to Fernando's relief. He recaged his pet before he got bitten, then burst into verse with a song that he'd written. What a wonderful friend I would make, bragged the goat, for that little ditty was one that I wrote. But the people below called back over the moat. What'd they say? Who'd want to be friends with a gloating old goat? Now the goat was about to sing one more verse, but his run of bad luck took a turn for the worse. He took a deep breath and let loose with such force that his voice gave right out. He had bragged himself hoarse. What do we think hoarse means? If I bragged myself hoarse, he can't talk. The people below in the street clapped and cheered, and the goat whimpered miserably into his beard. Why don't they like me? Why don't they care? When all of my riches I'm willing to share. Why do you guys think they don't really want to be his friend? He's got all these riches that he wants to share. Meanwhile, the people began to feel bad for teasing the goat in the way that they had. He might be annoying for gloating all day, but all that aside, he was kind of okay. So they lifted their heads to the tower and tried to talk to the goat who was holed up inside, for they thought that he'd make a good friend, sure enough, if only he promised to stop showing off. So what do we think gloating means? Showing off. The goat heard them calling his name, and he jumped up out of his throne with such joy that he bumped his horns on a beam by jutting out at the ceiling. Ooh. It was several hours before his horns regained feeling. Oh, his poor horns. What do we think he's doing in this picture? What do you think he's going to do? Let's find out. But he couldn't talk with that pain in his throat because he was hoarse. He struggled to utter much more than a note. A note? Why, that's it! So he went one step better, sat down at his desk, and he wrote them a letter. I wonder what the letter's gonna say. At last he had finished. And there, with his letter, he carefully bent and folded the paper to form a small plane, while all the time hoping that it wouldn't rain. Whoosh went the letter out into the blue. Ah, said the people below. Also, ooh. As circling steadily over the street, it finally came to rest at their feet. So, can you see the letter? Threw it out and it just goes whoosh. All right, they unfolded the letter. Let's find out what it says. What wonderful friends you would make, went the note. Ooh, did we hear how he changed the way that he worded that? For this foolish old goat with a very sore throat, I am sorry, I really did not mean to brag, but loneliness can be a terrible drag. Now I got to thinking, sitting here on my chair, what use are nice things if they cannot be shared? I would take great delight in knowing you better. And that is the reason I'm sending this letter. And the people below called back over the moat. Of course we'll be friends with you, silly old goat. The end. So, I think the goat learned to not gloat. He wasn't showing off anymore. He wasn't saying, I would be the best friend. He was saying, you would make a good friend. I want to be friends with you. I want to get to know you better. All right, I'll see you next time.